All right, welcome into another edition of the 2023 MLB Draft Show, the two-way player edition. Paul Skenes, LSU Baseball. Paul, what's going on? Pride of Lake Forest, California. How we doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited to have you on the show. I'm ready to talk a little bit of two-way baseball, a little bit of hitting, a little bit of pitching. But let's start with this. This is how we always start the show. Paul Skenes, who are you on the baseball field? Tell the viewers, tell the listeners, what is Paul Skenes all about? And then also, on the other side of things, what do you like to do off the field? What are some of your hobbies, passions, ways that you like to kill time?
So on the field, obviously a two-way player, pitcher, hitter. Right-handed hitter, right-handed pitcher. Been doing it for pretty much my whole life, and it's really picked up the last few years, especially on the pitching side. And so it's something I love to do. It's something I want to do as long as I can, and I love the work for it, and I love obviously the stuff that the work brings on the field. So it's what I love to do, and I want to continue to do it as long as I can. Off the field, from Lake Forest, California, Orange County, SoCal guy. I went to Air Force for 2 years and transferred to LSU, and I loved Air Force. I'm loving LSU, and I'm just trying to enjoy every step of it.
I'm going to hit you with the hard-hitting questions here. Are you better at pitching or hitting?
Depends on the day. That's what I like to say. I don't know. I don't know which I'm better at. I think I'm gonna let somebody else make that decision for me. But I love them both.
That's fair. I think that's a fair answer. Depends on the day for a lot of people. How about let's talk a little bit about your past, and let's talk about Air Force. What did you like about Air Force? And then obviously the second part of that question, what made you decide to enter the transfer portal and look into the SEC?
I loved Air Force. Didn't love every minute of it, but I loved everything that it gave me, and all the skills, all the life skills, the discipline, the interpersonal skills, the friendships, everything that I got from that place. I think it's been super worthwhile, and it's helped me up to this point. And I think it'll continue to help me. I made some of the deepest, and I think what'll be the most long-lasting friendships of my life there. The first day of basic training, or right before basic training, our head coach pulls us into the locker room, the incoming freshman class, and says, we're all sitting there, we don't know each other, and he tells us all, this is going to be your wedding party. And at the time you think he's crazy, and now looking, I'm on the other side. My buddies are in their junior year now, but on the other side of it, you can see what he means. And so that was super worthwhile. Made it a really, really hard decision. I developed a lot as a man, as a baseball player there. And so realized last year that that in order to play professional baseball, I think that to be I don't want to say restricted by the military, but kind of having that hanging over my head, that probably wasn't the best option in terms of trying to have a long career in baseball and professional baseball, and trying to make it to the major leagues and have a long career there. And so I realized that it was probably going to be the wise move to transfer out and go somewhere else to have an opportunity to do that, somewhere that has a little bit more of a pedigree of developing and letting professional baseball players and major league baseball players come out of there. So which let's face it, that's not what Air Force is meant to do. So transferred to LSU, and I'm loving the transition.
So talk about LSU. I mean, what are some of the biggest differences, and then kind of how are they helping develop? I mean, I know you've only been there for a handful of months, but how have you already noticed it in your development?
The biggest differences, I would say, is sleep and just having more time in the day. I like to say that at the Air Force Academy, they have 18 hours of work they have to cram into 16 hours. And so if you want to get your 8 hours of sleep, you got to figure out how to, compress those 2 hours. So that's not an issue at LSU. I can have as much time as I want at the field, pretty much, as much time as I want to sleep and to recover. And so that's been the biggest difference, I would say. The coaching, it's been huge, to have resources like Coach Wes and Coach Jay. Um, they've been awesome to work with every day, especially on both sides of the ball. So, um, there's been a lot of work, that I've pretty much been doing since my freshman year of college, I would say. But I've gotten here, and the coaches have had more time, and more opportunities and more resources to kind of resonate with me, and so it's been really good.
How has your excuse me, how has your adoption to more baseball tech gone? Because obviously LSU is going to have every piece of gear, every piece of technology under the sun available for you to kind of evaluate who you are on the mound and how you can tinker and get better. Is that something that you've adopted well? Like, are you enjoying kind of getting into the numbers a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. I started doing it a little bit last year, at Air Force. We got a Trackman during the season last year at Air Force, and so I got into it a little bit then, and really got into it this past summer. I thought I knew what I was talking about or what I was looking at in terms of the data, and then this summer I had a bunch of people that were telling me the data and what it means, and interpreting it for me, at a much deeper level than I had been accustomed to. So, and then I got to LSU, and it was even more so,
Hmm.
with more resources and more opportunities to use that. So that's been really big, and I don't think it's changed the way that I've trained, but it's definitely supplemented it, and it's cool now because I can throw a pitch and feel like, yeah, that was good, or that one wasn't as good, and actually see the numbers, and see the video to back that up.
So I love asking this question since kind of diving into the numbers, getting a little bit more quantifiable. Where have you seen the biggest improvement in your stuff of, this summer and this fall?
I would say just the consistency of my stuff, especially my
Mm,
off speed pitches. I'm throwing a new slider since the one I threw last spring,
mhm.
and even over the summer. And so to develop a new pitch, like the biggest thing is just developing consistency with it, I think. And so having Trackman and Edgertronic, to use as resources, for that kind of thing, it's been really good to be able to see, if I think about doing this with my index finger or this with my hand, that it's going to make the ball move more left, or more up, I guess. And so, like, just developing that consistency with the slider and the changeup, that's probably been the biggest thing.
How about offensively? Because I mean, hit tracks, TrackMan, Rapsoda, you do anything that you want. Any benefits toward plugging yourself in a little bit more? In the batting cages or in BP, have you noticed a difference offensively?
I think, I've used it a little bit more. I used it a lot in high school,
Hmm.
and then pretty much what they had at Air Force. We had a TrackMan and Blast and that kind of thing. But I think I figured it out a lot more than pitching when I was in high school, in terms of like how to move, and my approach on the hitting side. So at this point, it's a little bit more, second nature for me. Like, to I feel my body moving one way, I can figure out a way to fix it. A cue just from the things that I've worked on in the past. So I don't think I use the data quite as much, um, on the hitting side. Just but when I do it, it definitely reaffirms what I kind of what I think is happening already.
Yeah. How about let's talk a little bit about Team USA. Big summer for you. You got to do a lot of different things. Any highlights of Team USA?
It was probably the coolest baseball experience of my life. I went overseas, and the game that I pitched, in the Netherlands, was against the Netherlands, against some guys that, I know for a fact I have their baseball card. And I remember striking one of them out, and it was like, I mean, I'm still out there competing, but I kind of took a step back, and I was like, this is pretty cool. So, it was an awesome experience to be able to do that. Awesome experience to be with those players, and those dudes. There's a lot of talent there, but there's a lot of character too, and to make those relationships. Um, I got to do it after my freshman year, but it was like 5 times better this past summer. So it was just a really cool experience all around.
I dig it. Yeah, it sounds like it was a pretty cool summer. Okay, so last question on the baseball side. It's interesting that you're a two-way player because there's obviously so much more that goes into it, but do you have any individual goals for yourself on the mound or in the box? And then kind of the other side of that is goals for LSU. What do you guys have your sights on?
I mean, I'll start with the goals for LSU. We obviously want to win a national championship. That's why I went to LSU. I played there my freshman year and loved the fans, the atmosphere. Alex Box Stadium was an awesome place. Um, and so to get to experience that firsthand before I had to make a decision um, that was super beneficial. But I want to win a national championship probably more than anything this year, and I know we have a locker room full of dudes that want to do that too. So nice thing is we're working toward it, I think. And so that it's cool to be around. And then I think for myself, I wouldn't say there are any like quantifiable goals for myself. I just want to go out there and win. I want to contribute to us achieving that end goal of dogpiling in Omaha. I think that would be the coolest experience of my life. And that's, I mean, I think about that a lot. I've talked to a lot of the guys in the locker room about that a lot, and to have a chance to do that this year is really really cool.
If you get lucky enough to be drafted in July, what should a fan base expect to get out of Paul Skenes?
I would say more than anything, a player and a person that's going to make the people around them better. I think that's something that I've been raised to do, and that's something that I've tried to develop the last couple of years. Um, Obviously, leadership skills are big at the Air Force Academy and in the military. It's something you need if you're going to be an officer and flying $300 million jets. And so that's what they were developing in all of us while we were there. And so I think that's strong in me, and I think that I try to do a lot, obviously, to make myself better, but I try to do a lot to help the people around me get better. I think that's super important. So if a team drafts me and I sign with them, that's what the fan base is going to get.
It's a great answer. It's a great answer. Yeah, not a lot of other guys have been exposed to the potential of flying a $300 million jet, so I think that's a unique angle that you're coming at it from.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. I'm going to hit you with a couple more questions, get you out of here. These are going to be non-baseball related, kind of. My favorite question to ask lately. So, Team USA, LSU, you're surrounded by a bunch of really talented baseball players, bunch of talented guys. If you have a sister, even if you don't have a sister, out of all the guys that you've played with over the last 6 months, who are you definitely not letting date your sister?
Oh man, I feel like there's not a right answer to this. I have no idea. No, I mean, the
We had
nice thing
Dylan Cruz
is,
on the show, and I think he said Braden Joe Bear. I could be wrong.
I mean, that's his roommate, so I mean, they're gonna give each other a hard time for sure. I'm not gonna do that to my roommates. Um, Nice thing is, I don't have to worry about that because my sisters are in Orange County, and I'm all the way out in Baton Rouge, so we're about 2,000 miles away. But if it's okay, I don't want to answer that. I don't know.
That's totally fine. Second question. I think Air Force is a really unique life experience that not a lot of people have experienced. What is the one life lesson that you learned at Air Force that you probably wouldn't have learned anywhere else?
I, to be honest, I think I probably would have learned this somewhere else, but to a much lesser extent. I would say, like, I think it's Navy SEALs. They have a saying, "Embrace the suck," and that's something we adopted at the Air Force Academy, especially during basic training in our freshman year. Um, and it's definitely something that you can apply to baseball. Like, if you want something bad enough, you're gonna have to work hard for it. And you have to work hard enough to earn it. And you kind of just got to lean into that and embrace it. I think in anything in life, for me, it's baseball. While I was at the academy, it's trying to get grades good enough to earn a pilot's lot my senior year, and baseball, and now I'm lucky. It's pretty much just I'm working toward one thing right now, I would say. But yeah, I think especially in the off season, just embrace the suck, embrace the work that you have to do. Um, I that was probably the biggest lesson for me. I think that, and like kind of tied in with that is like just don't complain. Nobody wants to hear you complain about anything because they don't care. Like it doesn't matter at the end of the day, and all you got to do is get the job done. Doesn't matter how you do it. So
You
um,
sound a lot more pleasant in group chats than a lot of my friends. Good answers, man. All right, last question. We always end with this one. Take as much time as you need. What's the one random fact that you know about anything, anywhere, that not a lot of people know?
it's probably really weird that this popped into my head. I'll give you a little bit of backstory, but I read a book on JFK and his assassination. Um, Probably like my junior year of high school, and I read about how he got killed driving in the limo and all that. Really cool to read about all that. But I pulled this one out. He swimming in the White House pool. He would only swim completely naked, and if somebody wanted to swim with him, uh, they had to swim completely naked too. So I'm sure my parents are gonna watch this and be like, what's he
Dude,
talking about?" But
that
that's one of
is
yeah,
without question. I've done 184 of these interviews. That's top 2 or 3. That
that's
is
perfect.
super interesting.
Yeah,
That's a great fact. That's a
yeah.
great fact, Paul.
And
Well,
I mean,
hey,
it's probably weird that popped into my head, but that's the one.
no, but you know what? The essence of the question is what is the weirdest fact that you know? And you hit a homer, dude.
Oh,
That
perfect.
was great. That was great. Paul Skenes, the pride of Lake Forest, JFK expert, and hopefully a guy that's going to take LSU to new heights in 2023. Excited to see what the spring looks like for you, man. Excited to see what July looks like for you come next season.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All right.